October 5th, 2012, from the stylish high-tech underground studios of Ribbit Media in Warwick, Rhode Island, this is NewsUndies. For October 5th, 2012, this is NewsUndies, all the news that shouldn't be news. I'm Paul Torville with these headlines. Andy Williams, dead. Mortgage rates at an all-time low, says CNN, out of context as an obvious shill for big banks. Scab refs, because that matters. Fox News airs random car chase as nation prepares to choose the fate of the world. California banning gay conversion therapy for kids, but only from licensed therapists. Unregulated church loons may carry on as if nothing has happened. That'll help. According to footage on CNN, that same Humvee is still burning at the U.S. consulate in Benghazi, Libya. The attack happened on September 11th. We need to burn Humvees in our cars and power plants. Fox News airs disoriented car chase suspect meandering the scrublands on foot. New Jersey lawmaker wants to ban replacement refs. Tool. How about banning corruption? Talk about news that shouldn't be news. Iran's Fars news agency makes non-news into news. The agency lifted a story from The Onion and republished the story as true news. The headline? Gallup poll, rural whites prefer Ahmadinejad to Obama. End quote. Fox News airs disoriented car chase suspect shooting himself in the head in the scrublands. Benjamin Netanyahu demonstrates before the UN General Assembly that, despite his nation's open secret of being armed with nuclear weapons, he has no idea of what nuclear weapons look like or how they work. Police searching for Jimmy Hoffa in Detroit. Just in time, he was 62 when he disappeared in 1975. Fox News airs Shepard Smith telling viewers to get off, followed immediately by what I can only think is a Tea Party porn? A mesothelioma class action lawsuit ad. Having recently seen Bill, Hillary, and Chelsea Clinton together, I have to ask, was Bill Clinton involved at all in the production of Chelsea Clinton? Coming up after the break, Republicanality, cashing in on Korea, and what makes a religion true?
For your upcoming wedding, bat mitzvah, or funeral, trust the professionals at Blas Florist to create the perfect mood-appropriate arrangement. Your special occasion will be so much more special with a Blas Florist arrangement. Blas will help your memories be that much more memorable. Call or click today to order your unique and not at all sexually suggestive arrangement from Blas Florist. Blas, the florist you shouldn't fear.
Oi. Gangnam Style Halloween costumes? Somewhere along the way, Joel Gilbert, writer, director, producer, has released a new documentary film entitled Dreams from My Real Father, which makes the case that U.S. President Barack Obama is a dyed-in-the-wool Marxist because of his associations with leftists in his youth, and this is the real bombshell, his real dad being, ready for it, socialist agitator and poet Frank Marshall Davis. Gilbert is an accomplished filmmaker with such credits as Elvis Found Alive, Bob Dylan Revealed, Paul McCartney Really Is Dead, The Last Testament of George Harrison, and who could forget 2010's Atomic Jihad, Ahmadinejad's Coming War, and Obama's Politics of Defeat. As one commenter on the YouTube page for the film's trailer put it, if Obama is a Marxist, he's doing it wrong. Independent Journal Review, a possibly right-leaning online news thing, publicized a video featuring an African-American woman reporting that the Obama campaign had given her a free phone in exchange for her promise to vote for the president. Then she declared that if you're on some sort of government assistance, all you have to do is tell the Obama campaign you're voting for Barry and pick up your new phone. I'd like to know, in what statistical universe does one whacked-out inarticulate sample constitute a vast conspiracy to commit voter fraud? And, just as important, how do we know it wasn't a setup? Or that the woman wasn't paid to say that? Or, given a phone to say it? Ann Romney, in an interview with The Atlantic, snapped back at critics with all the quiet dignity and grace of Richard Nixon following his 1962 gubernatorial loss, proclaiming it's hard to be her, living life on the campaign trail. Then, as if on cue, to show just how hard Ann Romney has it, a small fire on her private plane filled the cabin with smoke. After the plane landed safely, with no serious injuries, Mitt quickly got himself some camera time and wondered out loud why airliners don't have roll-down windows so you can vent the smoke in a situation like that. Really? Come on, Mitt. Ever heard of rapid cabin depressurization, hypoxia, death by asphyxiation? Oops, forgot. You have magic underwear, and that protects you from hypoxia. But not smoke? In a recent 60 Minutes Vanity Fair poll, the conclusion was reached that 70% of Americans believe that Scientology is not a true religion. Is this a meaningful response? Here are Pig and Sheep with their thoughts.
Of course it is. Americans are smart enough to know a true religion when they see one. Well, real Christian Americans anyway, and the rest can go back to Kenya. Praise Jesus! Without clearly defining what is meant by true religion, I think the poll is, at best, meaningless. Scientology is based on a book, has an unprovable superbeing as its central character, and offers future happiness for which there is no evidence if you'll just surrender happiness in this life and serve the faith. Whatever that means. How does this differ meaningfully from Christianity, Judaism, or Islam? I mean, in the sense of it being factually true, I would say no. Scientology is not a true religion. But then, neither are the other three.
That's what Pig and Sheep think. What are your thoughts? Email them to ovcomments@newsundies.com. Now that, thanks to science and technology, beaming video from one side of the planet to another is comparatively cheap and easy, two prominent U.S. Christian TV networks are jockeying for primacy to be ready when Jesus returns to Earth. Daystar TV and Trinity Broadcasting are the two networks, and they've both set up studios overlooking the Mount of Olives so they can be on the scene when the blessed event happens. Daystar has even gone so far as to set up a 24-hour channel to preach to the locals. No word yet on viewership. Of course, assuming Jesus lived at all, banking on the idea that he was the son of a god requires the assumption of the god of whom he would be the son. Since the evidence for the god is astonishingly weak at best, the reliability of the claims that he will come back at some point and redeem the world, what, like a coupon? Which his crucifixion was already supposed to have done, wasn't it? Seems a little naive. But hey, it's not my money. Don't go away. Coming up after the break, replacing replacements, jumpin' Jesus, and putting the bristles to good use.
It can be hard to think rationally when a loved one passes away. This can be especially true in the event of untimely death or when religious or cultural traditions demand quick interment of remains. Blue and Flatley Funeral Homes are here to ensure your needs are served in the most efficient and profitable way possible. At Blue and Flatley Funeral Homes, your money is very important to us, and we want to make sure we do everything you can afford to put your mind at ease. Blue and Flatley, profiting from the misery of others since 1883.
Oy. Rick Santorum. And now, here's Ryan Hanley with another Jeff Goldblum fact.
You know Jeff Goldblum. Jeff Goldblum appeared in the movie Earth Girls Are Easy. Although whenever he was on the set, the general vibe was that everyone is easy. Yeah, they all want a piece of the Goldblum. And he'll plow ya. Oh, he'll plow ya. Back to you.
Thanks, Ryan. Fascinating. And now here's Moose Weintraub with the Sports Half Minute.
Weintraub Sports Half Minute. It's a whole half minute of sports. 30 seconds of sports. Who's Weintraub Sports Half Minute?
This is your Sports Half Minute. I'm Moose Weintraub. Thankfully, the real NFL refs are back to work. Now the economy can really recover.
Weintraub Sports Half Minute.
Thanks, Moose. Always a great report from Moose. As you may recall, back in June of 2010, we reported on the fiberglass, styrofoam, and steel Jesus statue in the small town of Monroe, Ohio, which was struck by lightning and burned to the ground. Prior to its immolation, the statue was known to the locals as either Touchdown Jesus or Butter Jesus. The statue was on the grounds of the Solid Rock Church. Kind of ironic that they'd have a 60-foot-high plastic Jesus in their yard, but whatever. Now, the Solid Rock Church has a replacement Jesus, the Dick Sargent Jesus, if you will. This Jesus is a full-body statue, 55 feet tall. One would guess the reduced height was to lessen the likelihood of the statue being struck by lightning. The new statue has been named Lux Mundi, or Light of the World, by its sculptor, but the locals, true to form, have decided to call it Hug Me Jesus. Amusingly, a group of 6 protesters, calling themselves the Watchmen, looked on with scorn as the plastic giant was being dedicated, declaring the statue a violation of the Second Commandment. And finally, and I do mean finally, we all saw this coming, didn't we? For those of you not subscribing to the Blaze on the internet, Glenn Beck might be one of those names that sort of disappeared under your mind's fridge. Well, Glenn Beck has something to say about GOP presidential hopeful Mitt Romney's recent poor poll performance in the swing states. Incidentally, I think it's a bit disturbing to hear one Mormon man talking about another Mormon man's chances in a swing state. I mean, I thought the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints officially ended polygamy in 1890. Anyway, Beck has come out in an interview with David Barton saying that Romney's poor poll performance now is part of God's plan to make it clear that divine intervention is what gave Romney his victory. You know, when that happens. Then, Beck essentially said that Mitt Romney is George Washington. In a way, that's true. The average American knows just about as much about the real life and attitudes of George Washington as they do about the real life and attitudes of Mitt Romney. Well, that's about all for this edition of NewsUndies. If you see news that shouldn't be news, you can submit your story tips online at NewsUndies.com. NewsUndies is a bi-weekly show, but I'm taking my birthday off. I deserve it. We'll be back on November 2nd with fresh undies. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm Paul Torville. After that, I might be searching for Jimmy Hoffa's almost certainly thoroughly decomposed remains in completely random places.